Howard Stern Show ends and the wrap-up show begins. Welcome to the wrap-up show.
The wrap-up show.
A recap and behind-the-scenes look at the Stern Show. Call in
888-STERN-100.
The wrap-up show with John Hein and Gary Delabate. Wrap-up show.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the wrap-up show. I'm John Hein, soon to be joined by proud dad Gary Delabate. Well, hello. And, of course, his son, Jackson. We got the Frat Brothers in here. Guys got to spend the last half hour of their lives watching Howard do his thing. Pretty cool experience. Now you get to watch me, which isn't as cool, but I'm thrilled that you guys are here. I want to get your take on a few things.
This is the most frat people I've ever hung out with in my life. Like in college,
these are the kind of guys you beat up, or you don't let into the house.
Do you know what I did my first frat party ever? Like, I met somebody, and they were nice, and they're like, hey, why don't you...
Jason,
I'm Jason. Why don't you come to the frat house, and we're having a party tonight? And I go, great, what time does the party start? And they say, like, 10 p.m.? So I showed up at 10 p.m., like, literally at 10 p.m. Nobody was there. I just ended up helping set up the beer pong tables and the chairs and everything. It was very embarrassing.
Jackson, come over. You can sit in your dad's seat until he gets here. I want to know how that went. Jackson Delabate now joining us here on the wrap-up show until his dad gets here. And before you say anything, I want to talk to Jackson in there. All right, you're sitting there. You know your dad's listening. You know he's in the other room. He's got to be on edge, wondering what you're going to say, what you're going to do. Did you have that in the back of your head at all as Howard asked you some of those questions?
I mean, yeah. I wouldn't sell him out or throw him under the bus too badly. So.
Well, how could you sell me out? I'm curious.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on what kind of questions he asks.
He did say one thing today that I thought was funny. Howard goes, oh, yeah, we always wondered how your father got your mother. And Jackson goes, yeah, he gets that a lot.
I thought you did a great job with your boys in there.
Thank you.
Of course, if Lucas was in there, I think it'd be an interesting time, too.
Yeah, he has no filter.
Yeah. But you've known Howard literally all your life.
Yeah.
I mean, is it weird talking to him in that way? Because when you come in and you're little, he's much more protective. He's, it's a little bit different when you're one of the frat guys.
Well, I think it's funny, like, now, because I guess I've known of him my entire life. I mean, it's not like we, like, hang out. It's not like he's my uncle, you know what I mean? Like, that we hang out all the time. So, like, when I see him, it's funny to actually talk to him. Because, I mean, you hear, he's on, like, the house a lot. So, I hear him all the time.
What's the longest conversation you've ever had with Howard off the air?
Like today, right before we went on the air, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's never really talked to Howard off the air.
Yeah.
You a proud dad?
Yeah, no, they did good today. I was thinking, like, at first I was getting nervous. I was pacing. I was sweating. I was thinking, there's nothing that Howard's going to ask him. Like, we talk about a lot of stuff. It's not that embarrassing. And I don't think there's too much you can,
Were you able to settle down?
It took a while.
Yeah.
It took a while. You saw me bouncing off the wall.
I did. Your dad was literally bouncing off the walls while you were in there.
But you have to understand, the Jackson's friends were coming up today to see the wrap-up show. That was it. And then yesterday when I talked to Howard, I'm like, hey, if they come a little early, can they just stick their heads in and say a quick hello? And Howard's like, sure. And then Howard was the one who said, hey, guys, grab some chairs and sit in and watch, which I was not expecting.
Yeah. No, it's a great experience. I'm glad that you got to have it with Howard, and it was great to see your dad during it, too. I didn't think you were going to leave the studio. I figured you were going to stay as long as you possibly could, working the mic or whatever, so you didn't.
I actually sort of wanted to leave the studio and sort of let them do their thing.
Well.
And Jackson agrees to the audience, just so everybody knows. John hardly comes to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like he made it sound like you're over every week.
Oh, believe me, they've said much worse. But yeah, I know. I've been there, a few times, granted.
Yeah.
Love going, but there's no room for me, and, I don't stay with Gary, so whatever you guys are thinking, that's not the case.
For the record.
But thank you, Jackson. But anyway, we're back after a break. How was your break?
Good. I didn't go anywhere, but I was saying we went on break late, so I felt like everything was like a crazed rush to get ready for Christmas, and the Christmas came, and then we had a lot of time in the back end, so I felt I got to relax then. It was good. How about you?
My break was great.
Where'd you go?
Went to Aruba.
Saw the pictures. Did you go up in the parasailing thing?
Of course.
Isn't that like insanely unregulated and dangerous?
Yes. Did I tell you my conversation with Howard before I went?
No.
So I got the GoPro, and he's like, what are you going to use it for? I said, I'm going to use it to go parasailing. He goes, oh, really? I just read about a dad and the kid who died doing that. Like, thanks, Howard. Put that thought in my head.
Because I'm going down to the islands in a couple of months, and Lucas is like, let's go parasailing. And I'm like, I'm being like the guy. I'm like, it's completely unregulated. I go, they don't even have laws in that country?
It's fine. I've done it. This is my 4th year doing it. It's great. Yeah. And the GoPro's fantastic. I took it snorkeling. I got some great footage, which I posted if you guys want to see that. And it was a lot of fun. But, it was 80s. It's beautiful there. I really had a good time. And then came came back to this wonderful weather, and you just wonder, and Howard brought this up, like why we decide to live here. I mean, New York's fabulous. It's the greatest place in the world, but these months are just brutal weather-wise.
Well, this has been particularly bad, and I know people in the Midwest are saying shut up, especially people in Chicago because they deal with it all the time. But it was like 30 degrees, then it was like 2 degrees. And then when I got up this morning, I got one of those weather stations as a Christmas present, so I like to keep it in my bathroom so I can see what time it is and what the weather is. And I look at it, and I was looking online at the reviews, and it was mostly good, but a lot of them said they were broken. So I get up today, it says 51 degrees outside. I go, fucking thing's broken already.
Yeah.
It's broken already. And then I get outside, it's 51 degrees. And then it's going to be 6 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be brutal tomorrow. But that's the price you pay to live in this great city. We're going to talk about the holiday party. We're going to get into Howard's thoughts on Bob Grant. Bobo, who was insulted that he may have to face, he will be facing Judge J.D.
And Hansy's insulted, too.
Yeah. Has to have a note from his parents, notarized. Epstein's mother. Howard's Christmas card got a lot of attention. But I do want to start off with the break because Howard said he was the life of the party during his vacation. And Gary, this is a different guy because this is the guy who never wanted to go on vacation.
And when he went on vacation, he wanted to go someplace where there was nobody else around and it was just him alone in a hut. And that was a fun vacation. Now he's hanging out with Jimmy and Jennifer Aniston and having fun and golfing and going to the hut where there's all the drinks and snacks.
Yeah, he's having a great time.
Good for him. You know, some people never get there.
I agree. And he said he got all the complaining out early.
Right.
Because you got to, bitch a little bit. But, man, it sounded like he had a really nice time. So
I know people who are chronic complainers and never get past it. So he still complains. And if he stops complaining, as I always say, we're out of a job. But I'm glad he got to a place where he can enjoy himself.
How happy was he about the six-pack paparazzi shot?
Oh, listen, that's the greatest thing in the world. We look at first of all, we read those things like idiots. We look at them and like I go, the hell happened to Arnold Schwarzenegger? He used to be like the world, now he's got the stuff hanging over his bathing suit. So I'm sure he's thrilled to get a six-pack.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder how pervasive they are. But if they're saying great things about you, who really cares? So I'm glad Howard had such a good time. Benji, you noticed that shot, right?
Oh, yeah. But I've seen it in the studio. I've been telling people, and no one believed me. He didn't just have the six-pack. He has those lines that lead down to your crotch, like that when well-defined guys have.
How do you notice that in the studio?
Because he's taking his shirt off.
He took his shirt off right before vacation. When he went to get weighed in.
He looked great in the photos. There's no one that could deny that.
No, I agree. And he had a great
Have you seen the photo, Jackson?
No, I haven't.
You got to see it.
He had a great vacation as well. Let's talk a little bit about the party.
How so?
Well, we got to talk about Benji,
right?
Scott, Richard, but Howard goes out of his way really to talk to everybody now.
You okay there, John?
Yeah,
take a sip of water. Listen, the thing about the party that I love, and I talk about this every year, is Howard must say to them, make sure there is no shortage of food of any kind, and make sure there's no shortage of liquor and top shelf liquor. So, I go to the Raw Bar. I eat my shrimp. I love my shrimp and sushi. I love that part. It's my favorite party of the year because it's just fun.
What was Richard doing with the breathalyzer?
Well, we talked about this in one of the writing meetings, that Richard would breathalyze himself every hour and we would see what was what. But, I'm pretty sure he wasn't a .40 because I think that's when you die.
I don't know. He might have built up that tolerance.
You know what .40 is? .40 is insane. Like anything over a .2 is you're getting near death. Over 0.25, .40 means 40% of your blood is alcohol.
Yeah, no breathalyzers with you guys, right?
No.
They don't do that? You don't do those things at the bar where you blow into them for fun?
They don't have them.
Oh, they don't even have them, huh?
You should if you bought one, I would use it.
No, but John and I, when we parked at our garage, and I always think it's the most humiliating thing in the world. If you get a bunch of DUIs, you have to drive a special car. Will you blow into the pipe? Do you guys know anybody who have the pipe?
No.
And there's nothing more humiliating than watching a guy have to go start his own car by blowing into a pipe.
This is like after work and stuff, or
no? Like when you go, anytime you want to get in the car,
that's how you start.
That's how you start the car. You have to blow in. It's a breathalyzer built in, so it's completely humiliating.
Howard also said he made sure to spend a lot of time with Scott Salem.
And
you tell me.
I don't know. Scott gets a bad rep, but he's a quiet guy. And he's not the life of the party. And when he tries to be the life of the party, he's not. But he's a good guy. I don't know. I feel for Scotty. I don't think he can ever win.
What about this your old bit? Is it a bit or is it something that Scott's really working on?
Here's how it came to me. Nick told me that he was standing there and Scott was pitching this idea to Shuley. and even looked it up on the internet. So Scott can say he was kidding around, but what I got out of it was, you know, we do this in the office all the time. You have an idea, you float an idea. So Scott was floating it to Shuli, a known stand-up comedian, and if Shuli would have said, that idea is great, you should go with it, which if Shuli, maybe he did say that to give Scott confidence. But I think that if you told Scott it was a good bit, he would go with it.
But Scott pulled I was just kidding. But Scott does that a lot when it doesn't necessarily go over.
Well, I didn't do that I said a guy standing next to you, I did do that, but I was kidding.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe there, Gary.
I know what to believe.
Which is?
Nick's not going to lie. Nick's got no agenda to make it up. Scott was floating an idea that just didn't take, and I was a little bit embarrassed.
But I think that's sort of like a lot of ideas. You just sort of, you're kind of having fun with it, kind of serious, and maybe it'll work. And by the way, it's a great premise to work with. You just need great jokes to go with it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the premise.
Yeah, I agree. You know what, Al, let's take a break. We'll try and get Scott down here and get the truth out of him. Plus, John Lieberman's going to come by. Who knows who's going to come by? It's the wrap-up show you're listening to on Howard 100 and Howard 101.
The Wrap-Up Show.
Hi, this is Lady Gaga, and you're listening to the Wrap-Up Show with John Hein and Baba Booey.
Welcome back to the Wrap-Up Show. 888-STERN-100. Give us a call as we talk about everything that went down on today's show. Jackson, I have one last question for you. Baba Booey, do you wear it as a source of pride? Are you embarrassed by it? It's been a part of your family's life for a very long time.
What, you mean just the name in general?
Yeah.
Or no, I think it's funny. I mean, it's more recognizable that way. I mean, I feel like, you'd agree, right? More people. I think Baba Booey's more fun than Gary Dell'Abate.
It is. I remember the first time that he ever addressed that with me. We were in an airport. He was like 4 years old. And he and I went on a trip to see my brother, so we were in the airport, and we were eating ice cream. A guy just walked by very casually. He goes, hey, Baba Booey, what's up? And just kept going. And Jackson started laughing, and I go, what's so funny? He goes, that guy thinks you're Baba Booey.
Little did you know.
I have zero recollection of that. But
do you remember an age when you sort of realized, it's kind of like, I mean, Gary, your dad's a celebrity. Do you remember an age when you sort of became, like, cognizant that, like, people all knew your dad and people, were excited to meet him?
I don't really know when. I feel like probably towards when I was 7 or 8, I started to realize. But I mean, when I was really little, like in preschool, he always used to bring in the microphones and stuff, and we would do a little free.
What do you mean?
We would just play around. He would bring in microphones and headsets and stuff to my classes when I was in kindergarten and stuff like that. And
I would do
a little 5-year-old just talking about, I don't know, whatever 5-year-olds talk, blocks and stuff, I guess. But
I would show the kids how to talk on the microphone, and I would bring them in groups of 5, and it'd be like, you're going to do the weather, you're going to do the news, you're going to give the time, and they would all do a little mini radio show.
That's great. Now you got Lady Gaga giving your dad shout-outs there, so pretty cool. All right, let's shift gears here and talk about Bobo. Because Bobo, first call of the year, diehard fan, we all know. But Bobo almost, I don't know, is entitled the right word, Gary? Does he have a sense of entitlement about going to this birthday show?
He does, but I'm not as mad at him as everybody else is. He does have a sense of entitlement, but he feels like he belongs to this club that was really hard for him to get into. It's an exclusive club, and he feels like he's in it. And because he's in it, there's some perks that come with it. I guess I just defined what entitlement is.
Well, is he in the club? Yes or no?
It's a hard question to answer.
There you go.
He's in a club. I don't know if he's in the club.
John Lieberman, I see you itching to get
Well,
in.
yeah. I mean, how can you argue he's not part of the club, though? I mean,
No, he is. He's in the club. He's in a club. But when Howard starts to do the whole rap about who are the more interesting people, even Bobo says, I'm not a whack packer. I'm an extreme fan.
Well,
right.
John said, does he feel entitled? And you said, hey, I guess I did define it. I guess the question is, should he have the right? Is there anything wrong for him to feel entitled to come to the party?
I actually don't think there's anything wrong with him feeling that way. It doesn't mean he's going to get in. But I don't think, I think he has the right to at least think that it's a pretty good possibility.
Well, now it's in JD's hands, and JD said he wasn't off to a very good start.
That's right.
But you have to agree, Bobo has as strong an argument to get in as anybody else affiliated with the show. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not crazy that he thinks he should go.
Right.
Scott in Jersey, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, me?
Yeah, you, Scott.
Hey, John, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Listen, I was calling about Bobo. I do feel a little badly for him when he's talking because his insanity comes out. And but to Gary's point earlier, you know, I'm 42. I've been listening since I was a sophomore in high school every day. Gary signed my wife's bra at the private parts screening. My wife showed her boobs in private parts, for God's sakes. I wrote a book this year, and I thanked Howard in it publicly against my publisher's wishes. They said, please do not thank Howard Stern in a parenting memoir. And I said, no, Howard Stern taught me how to tell a story. This might be my only chance to thank him publicly. I'm going to do it. So I do feel bad for Bobo. He does come off crazy. His argument for himself, to me, plays like an argument against him. I wanted to bring up, I wonder if there couldn't be a game this year, Win Bobo's Life, to teach him a lesson. So every time you guys think to give Bobo something, whether it's America's Got Talent or access to something, you just give it away to someone else instead until he's found his humility.
I'll definitely take that one to the writing meeting. I like that idea.
Yeah.
But you realize you're going to drive Bobo to suicide.
Gary, it's terrible, and thank you for signing my wife's bra. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you for saying that in front of Jackson twice.
Well, hey, listen, Jackson, I yelled out Lucas Delabate will save us at a America's Got Talent screening a couple of years ago.
And by the way, he remembers that. It was really loud.
Jackson, is there any jealousy there that Lucas Delabate gets shouted out? Where's the Jackson Delabate love?
I don't know. Ask Benji. No,
It's coming up.
I'm kidding. Yeah, it's on the way. No, that was hilarious, though, regardless of who it was.
But my wife punched me in the thigh. She's like, we're going to get kicked out of here. And I was like, no, we're not. And we have to do this. So, you know, I mean, listen, I know it's going to push him over the edge. And part of me hopes when he calls in that he's joking. But that saddest moment today is when he said, I didn't hear what was going on. My car battery died and I had to jump my car. I thought, God, he is really sitting in his car listening to this show. And it's just, I mean, I feel terrible for him. I think, you know, for his own personal safety, maybe you have to let him come. But, I mean, myself and probably millions of other people could make just as good a case as his. And I've never called before.
Well, right after, I mean, during the segment, Howard picked up a caller who said, I've been listening forever. You know, I love you guys, this and that. Like, why would I not be entitled to the tickets? And he's got a fair point. And the thing that makes this so tough is that these tickets are ridiculously scarce and very difficult to get. And with Bobo and Gary, I don't know what you think about this, but I don't think Bobo is unappreciative. I think that's the wrong word. Like, I think he loves the show and appreciates, whereas other people get stuff and, you know, kind of spit in Howard's face.
I think a lot of this is a popularity contest, meaning if you liked Bobo more, you'd be more into letting Bobo go. And, you know, Bobo doesn't have the likability of, say, you know, like, who would you say is the most beloved Whackpacker?
Beetle.
Exactly. Like, people love Beetle. Even though Beetle will walk into a room and tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, thank you. You made my day.
It's an honor.
It's a badge of honor to have Beetle tell you that.
Bobo might not have the likability, but he certainly has the dedication.
Sure. And
I mean, probably more dedicated than anybody else except maybe Marianne.
Right. So if you let Bobo in, do you have to let Marianne in?
That's a good question. Probably yes.
Okay, so if you let those two in, then it becomes a wedding, right?
It does.
So now we let these two in, so who else is do you have to let in because you let those two in?
Well, and the sad part is that this is not shtick for Bobo. Like, if Bobo does not go to the birthday party, he will get severely depressed, comatose. I mean, and that's not exaggeration.
Did we lose Scott? Is he gone?
Yeah, we lost him.
I wanted to let him plug his book.
Oh, Scott, if you call back, or we'll get that plug out there somehow for you. Thank you for calling in, though. Nick in Lake Tahoe, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, thanks, John. Hey, guys, he's got to win tickets just like anybody else. I won tickets. I begged. I won. So you got to go through the routine, man.
But Nick, is there nothing to the fact of being a part of the show? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying it.
Go ahead.
But is there nothing to being a part of the show for 20 plus years where you're regular on the show, you get to be part of bits, so maybe he's more than just a regular listener, even though you're a regular listener, maybe you didn't call in. He does have an involvement with the show. Does that get him any points in your book?
Very little, because he's gone to so many other events. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude, this is one event you're not going to be able to go to because the tickets are hard to get and you're going to miss out. Or win tickets like somebody else did, or I did, or go online and win your tickets.
It almost sounds like it causes some resentment because Bobo has been able to do so many things that let somebody else kind of experiences. That's the sense I'm getting from these guys.
There's a part of me that says, listen, if you're going to be a good sport about us bringing you in here, shaking the floor, telling you the world is ending, maybe you get a tiny reward for that.
You think?
That's my feeling.
How many people are in the Bobo character, like Whack Packers? How many official Whack Packers?
I've actually gone over the list quite a bit. It's about 15 to 20 people.
All right. Al, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll move off the birthday show and on to the holiday party, talk about what went on there, everyone's observations. We'll take your calls, 888-STERN-100. It's the wrap-up show you're listening to on Howard 100 and Howard 101.
The wrap-up show.
This is Baby Juice. This is the wrap-up show. John Hine and Gary Latte.
The wrap-up show.
Welcome back to the wrap-up show, 888-STERN-100. Give us a call. John, Gary, Benji, John Lieberman, and now the great Ronnie Munn joining us. Happy New Year there, Ronnie.
Yeah, you too.
How you doing, man?
All right.
Why so quiet, Ronnie?
Personal shit.
Everything okay?
No.
What's the matter? You want to talk about it or no?
Did something just happen like in the last 10 minutes?
No, last week.
Oh, okay, because you were sort of more upbeat this morning.
No, not really. Not really at all.
You okay? I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Can you talk about the holiday party?
Yeah,
or you don't
sure.
feel
What
up
do
for that?
No, come on. Let's go.
Well,
when you're at the holiday party, Ronnie, can you let go, or do you feel, is there a little piece? Because even for me, there's always a little piece of me that feels like I have to work a little bit. I let it go this year. But do you ever feel like that?
I was real quiet this year because part of my personal thing happened that day. So,
but I mean, do you ever feel like when people start acting out, it's your responsibility to make sure everything's in order?
Yeah, kind of. But I have my guy working at the door anyway, so kind of worked out.
Were you able to enjoy the party?
Yes and no. And if you notice, I was real quiet.
I didn't notice. It's hard to tell at that party because
at one point I got up because they wanted people to dance and nobody wanted to dance. I got up and I grabbed the mic and I tried to get people to dance, but that was it.
Is there a potential for the personal thing to get better?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The Sal, was this during the Sal serenading at that point? Is that when you were dancing or was that after?
It was after.
What did you guys think of Sal singing?
Well, the funny part was it took absolutely no, begging to get him up there.
Well, Howard asked him. And
Sal, would you sing? Yeah, of course I will.
Yeah.
Oh, they need me.
Yeah, he belted out a couple of favorites. And again, Sal does not have a bad voice. No one is saying that.
And by the way, that environment is perfect for Sal's voice. When you're drunk and the sound system's not that good, he sounds like Sinatra.
Yeah. John, what stood out for you at the party?
What's that? What stood out?
Yeah. Because last year you were sort of, noticed for whatever, and this year, not so much.
Much laid back, much more laid back.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious thing on your part?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a conscious effort. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be defined by that.
No, here's what happened.
No, I know what Gary's going to say.
He was with a new girl. He was with a new girl who looked to be pretty intelligent and pretty cute and probably wouldn't tolerate that idiocy.
Seemed very
so he's
nice.
not going to let that guy out of the bag until it's more of a done deal.
Too early, right?
No,
Yeah.
she knows about that guy. She knows. No, so it's not that at all. It was a concerted effort. Yeah, a little bit out of respect to my date, but more so about I just don't want to be defined like that anymore. So I made some changes, and that's one of them.
So that won't happen again.
It won't happen again.
We get that clip?
I can guarantee you. Isolate this clip. It will not happen again.
Now,
because look, I had a couple drinks at the party. I had a good time, but I didn't, do anything stupid because I don't want to do that.
Let me say something, John, please.
Okay, go ahead.
To both Johns. It will happen again. It's just got to be the right environment.
Right,
this
right.
wasn't the right environment.
That's right. I agree with Ronnie
I agree
wholeheartedly.
with Ronnie, too.
We get you in the right place. Maybe Howard's not there. Maybe maybe we should invite him to our dinner. We don't bring people from the newsroom, but that I can tell you, if we got him over to that, he'd be out of control.
I agree. Now, Benji, Howard was saying that you always find a way to be the focus at this party.
Yeah.
And you disagree with that?
It wasn't an intentional thing or anything like that. So,
I
but
don't
maybe
mean specifically this time. I just mean in general when the party comes around.
I think the nature of our show, I think the nature of our show, I come up a lot. My name comes up.
Did you know that there was a discussion during the party that there was the possibility that this was sort of like theater?
Yeah.
Which is
I
so
didn't
strange.
know, but I'm sure that people
Right, it was
would
weird.
think that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're in the ladies' room, people are going to be, what's going on? And I'm glad Lisa was okay, but there was a lot, people were very concerned.
Well, I appreciate that you were concerned.
Were you able to enjoy the party at all?
Actually, Elisa was mortified by it, and it wasn't like she was like.
Yeah, you said that today. What do you mean by that?
She was just mortified. She was very embarrassed. She really respects Howard. She's done like a lot of work for the show over the year, and it just mortified her. She wanted a chance to say thank you and thank you for having me at the party and all that stuff. To me, I felt horrible for her, and I know the way people can change things, but it wasn't. She felt really. It wasn't like she was stumbling around drunk. She just all of a sudden her head was killing her, and she had to go to the bathroom. But for me, it was actually kind of fun just sitting in the bathroom the whole time.
But is it? Tell me,
I wouldn't want her to have to go through it, but it was.
But tell me, is this true or not? Because this is what I was told, not by Mary, by somebody else, that she was flat out passed out on the floor.
She was not. When I was in the bathroom, she was laying down, but she was like, she could talk to me and she was just really hurting, in pain. And like I said, you guys might think this is a conspiracy or something like that. And I've been trying to find out about it. Like 3 days later, and this has never happened in my life, I was getting really weird headaches. I've never fainted in my life. I fainted and fell on the floor. So I don't know if there's some kind of weird flu going around or something like that, but who knows?
The Irish flu.
Ronnie.
Is there an Irish flu going around? Or
Yeah, you know what the Irish flu is?
I mean,
it's a way to say somebody got drunk. When you call the sick into work and you're hungover, you have the Irish flu.
Oh, that might be. I'd be careful.
Ronnie, I want your take on this. What do you think? Do you think Benji wants the attention here?
I don't know about in that way. I mean, to have your girlfriend laying on the floor all night in the bathroom, I don't think. I mean, people were saying it was like you said, a theater thing, like an Andy Kaufman skit or something. You know, but I don't know.
Had you discussed behavior?
I never saw either one of them until I was leaving. I didn't see them come in. Stephanie told me she was in the bathroom a couple of times with her, checking on her. But
yeah, Stephanie came in and said hi. Very nice. And like Pam DePace, Scott DePace, was like so sweet because Elisa was just mortified about what happened. Mm-hmm. And Pam DePace just came and she talked to her, and it was just such a nice thing. It was a big stall. So, it wasn't like, and then I think a lot of people wasn't aware. I think people might have forgotten because I was hearing lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff. You're saying? Like what? Like what? Yeah, what'd you hear?
It doesn't sound that much different than a guy's bathroom, I'll say that.
Just hanging in the
ladies' room.
That's pretty funny. Did Howard have a good time, you think?
I think he did. He didn't leave as early as he usually does, but it is funny. He and Beth quietly exit the party while we're all still there. You know, and I left it like I felt a reasonable time. I think Mary and I left a little bit after 11, but I know that Richard did his breathalyzer at 12:17. Yeah. He's going to stay and drink up all that free liquor.
They said that Fred left. I didn't think Fred left early. Did you guys catch that?
I didn't notice when he left.
No, I know that High Pitch Mike and Richard were there till almost 2.
Really?
Yeah, because they have timestamp photos.
Well, that was last
that they
year
were
also.
Showing that were pushing 2 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, last year also. They were the last ones to leave at 2 o'clock.
High Pitch Mike and Richard?
Among others. I don't know who else.
Yeah, there's a little gang of people that like to hang.
Yeah, they closed the place. Ronnie, did you notice Howard going over to Scott and spending a lot of time with him?
I saw him go over to him, but I didn't actually see how long he spent with him.
He was with him for a while, apparently.
Or maybe Howard fell asleep, maybe. I don't know.
Well, Scott's got to enjoy that, though, right? Getting that kind of attention.
The first thing Scott said to me this morning when I walked in, he goes, I'm going to catch it on the air today. I go, why? He goes, Howard came and sat with me and talked to me. I go, oh, okay.
And you didn't even have to ask what happened.
No. Absolutely not.
You're saying Scott enjoys that, but I think it could be very, very difficult for someone in Scott's position. I would find it very difficult. I like Howard. I enjoy talking to him, but to know that it could come back up that it will come back up on the air.
Well, do you feel pressure still, like if Howard's talking to you at the party, that this is, you're going to hear this in a couple of weeks?
Not at the party, but it was really interesting. I went out with my buddies the night before the party. It was our last day on the air, and I went with all my high school buddies, and we went to Nobu. And Howard and Beth were there, so I sat with him for a couple of minutes, and I felt a little pressure just talking to him one-on-one, maybe because I thought, hey, I left my friends over there, but I felt like I was intruding, so I didn't want to overstay my welcome. So I feel pressure when it comes to that sort of thing.
Well, I think everybody had a great time, and I'm glad that Elisa's doing all right.
Yeah, no,
she looked great. She did look great.
Thank you. She's, like I said, she's mortified and very sorry to Howard. But she wasn't, like I said, there were a lot drunker. I helped carry people out of that party, so there was a lot drunker people at the party.
Right, but they did not kiss the floor.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's usually the benchmark. But yes, there were very drunk people at that party. Very, very, very drunk.
Yes, there were.
Very, very drunk. As the Gamma Omicrons of Syracuse know what I'm talking about.
Emily, you're on the wrap-up show.
Well, the Gamma Omicron chapter.
Yeah, I was calling that Robin spoiled another movie today. She spoiled the movie Gravity, and it's not even out on DVD.
How did she do that?
Well, no, don't repeat it.
Really? Did she give it away?
She gave away a very, very major part of it.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't hear her do that. That's awesome.
I haven't even seen the movie, but I figured that was a.
Oh, that's so great.
Now, what do you think? Do you think she just? I don't think Robin's doing it maliciously. I think it just happens to come out.
Yeah.
In her excitement.
I agree with you. You said there's two kinds of spoilers.
Yeah, with intent and without intent.
Right. Robin's is without intent.
I think so. What do you think, Emily?
Yeah, I think it's without intent. I think she's just in Robin's world and doesn't always think about other people.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, sometimes her and Howard get caught up in those kinds of conversations and you just don't know what's going to come out, but that's part of what keeps the show fresh and how we do what we do. Okay, one more call and then we'll go over to John Lieberman. Actually, you know what? John, why don't you tell us what's coming up in Howard 100 News?
We have so much coming up, guys. Contestant winners to Howard's birthday bash, gushing at the news that they've won tickets. Lisa G interviewing some of those contest winners. Lisa also interviewing former New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly. Howard again praising him today. Mr. Kelly's been a fan of Howard's for years and calls Howard an icon. Medicated Pete still grateful that Gary Delabate paid for a year's subscription for him to a website where he could date disabled women. He reveals to us that he found one, dated one who was in a wheelchair, but they just broke up, not because of the wheelchair, but over the long distance nature of their relationship. She lived in Pennsylvania.
But did he bang her? That's what I want to know.
Yes.
Okay. That's awesome. Pete.
According to him.
Good for Pete. Because I love you. I don't know when it expires, but if you need another year, just call me.
And there's our follow-up. Gary Delabate will renew the subscription. And finally, Jeff the Drunk weighing in on the fact that New York State seems ready to ease restrictions on medical marijuana. Wait till you hear his argument why he should be at the front of the line for medical marijuana. All of that and Lieberman Live goes daily today, beginning at 4:45 and replaying a bunch on Howard 101.
I've been following the medical marijuana thing. They're doing it in 20 locations in New York, and it's really, really tight. It's not like L.A. and Colorado where you can do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to have like the severest form of cancer.
Yeah, you have to exhaust all other possibilities.
So what is Jeff? I'd love to hear what Jeff thinks he's entitled to.
You will have to listen today, Gary, on Howard 100 and Howard 101.
Before we wrap up, Bob Grant. I know you wanted to say something about him.
I had Howard's exact experience. My father was a huge Bob Grant fan. I would go to work with my dad, sit in the car, and my dad and I would talk a lot, but when Bob Grant came on the way home, we had to listen to Bob Grant, and my dad was such a fan that I actually knew that Bob Grant and I shared the same birthday, both March 14th. And I did it. I loved listening to him when I was growing up. He was everything Howard said he was today. That's what he was to me. I loved him.
And Howard's had a lot of those moments lately where he's like, when I had him on the air, I wish I said this, I wish I said that, instead of doing what I did.
Well, the funny thing with Howard was, Howard and I would have these discussions off the air years ago, and I would say that Bob Grant was good. He goes, no, he isn't, because Howard didn't, and then, because it was part of, I was telling Jason today, we can get into this another time, but, there was a period of time where we went through, I think Howard's mellowed a little bit, you grow a little bit and everything, but there was a period of time where we couldn't function unless we were at war with at least 60% of the people in our lives.
So if a Bob Grant came up today, is it that he's dead that he feels more free, you think, or do you think he would give out these feelings?
I think Howard feels he's accomplished enough to have the ability to say, I like someone else. But back then we had to fight with everybody. We had to hate every morning show that came on against us. We had to hate forget about whether anybody said anything bad about Howard. If you had the opportunity to say something about Howard at all and it wasn't positive enough, we'd hate you. And being at war is what drove the show, and it was fun for a while. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I was a soldier in the Army.
Now we're the only superpower left.
Sort of.
Al, let's wrap up this wrap-up show. Hey, Jackson, come on over here. Is there anything you want to plug? Feel free to jump on the mic and go for it.
Let's see, the Thunderdome on WERW.
Say that again.
The Thunderdome on WERW.
What's
Sports
that?
Talk Radio. It's my radio show at Syracuse.
Oh, very cool.
When is it on?
It's on, I don't know what it's going to be the new semester. The last semester, that was Tuesdays from 7 to 9. So that's tons of fun.
Like doing sports talk?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Very cool. I'm glad you got to stop by with your buddies over there. Garrett, what do you got?
Follow me on Twitter at Robert A. Bowie 1. There's a very good picture of me and a bottle of tequila.
Benji.
I love listening to Jackson on WREW, but Lucas Delabate is available for DJing at big nightclubs. Like Pasha.
He did a huge gig over the vacation, but let's stop talking about.
And I'm on Twitter, Bronk, BRONK.
John Lieberman.
I'm on Twitter at Reporter John.
Ronnie.
RM Limo Driver 69 on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter as well at John Hein, and yes, I did post my videos of snorkeling and parasailing, so if you want to see me get out there.
I saw your body.
You did?
Yeah, you look good.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah. I mean, not
that.
Howard level, but you...
I'm working on it.
Was that a first shot, or did you really work on that shot?
Which one?
The one that was up on one of our sites, on the Stern sites. It was you and your wife in bathing suits. Your glasses were off.
No, that was just, we had a good time.
I thought that shot might have taken a lot of work for you, but it looked good.
Well, thank you, Benji. I appreciate that. And thank you guys all for listening to the Wrap-Up Show on Howard 100 and Howard 101.
Say hello to the new boss. Howard misses the old boss.
No more bullshit. This is a Howard 100 News Brief.
I'm Mike Hambrick. New York City Police Commissioner Kelly, only a short time gone, and Howard wants him back. It's Howard 100 News, behind the scenes.
I've been a fan for Howard Stern for many, many years.
Former New York City Police Commissioner Ray Kelly is very appreciative of Howard Stern's support throughout his tenure.
Gosh, you should have seen the security around the marathon. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. I mean, how do you not want Ray Kelly to stay as police commissioner?
Well, Howard is an icon, so it certainly makes me feel very good.
Howard even said he hopes the new city police commissioner takes notes from him.
I think things have gone well. We've had a dramatic reduction in crime.
Kelly knows how much money Howard's generated for the city when helping to move America's Got Talent to New York City.
What would you say if you saw Howard Stern on the street?
What I would say is, gee, your hair looks terrific, Howard.
Kelly says he isn't ruling out anything for his next adventure. Lisa G., Howard 100 News.
Howard 100 News. We don't babble incoherently.
I'm not. Never mind.
Howard 100 News broke the story. Whackpacker medicated Pete surfing single sites to find retarded women. Stern Show executive producer Gary Dell'Abate added up for a year subscription for Pete. It worked for a time.
I did meet somebody, and it didn't work out, actually.
What was that person like?
She was nice. She was in a wheelchair, and she was from Pennsylvania, but just distance didn't really work. So it wasn't wheelchair. It was just the distance. What was the problem?
Whackpacker Eric the actor says enough is enough. He will tweet no more forever. Perhaps.
Well, all I'll say now is I'm not saying that there's a specific set date, but the page will reopen. The other thing, I don't know if you've seen one of my final tweets before I close. I said that I will absolutely not be replying to people's tweets and public tweeting.
Another Howard 100 News brief at the top of the hour, or as close as we can get.
Howard 100.